There are other things I would do in politics, but to eradicate transgenderism from public life, that would be sufficient to attain that goal.
Yeah, I mean, you're saying it out loud. We're so far past the whole you can get rid of the gay by praying it away stuff, you know? You can torture the gay away. If you send your gay kids to camps, you know, with the right amount of prayer and torture, eventually, yes, they will stop having those desires. They'll definitely stop demonstrating those desires, that's for sure. Yeah, they won't want to demonstrate them because they know if they do that, they get tortured. Yeah. Might result in a couple bad outcomes, very bad outcomes, but you know, it's worth it to try and straight your kids. Turns out it doesn't work. Can't do it. There's no such thing. Can't torture kids into not being trans. The Daily Wire's Michael Knowles. Not only can we stop people from being transgender, nobody can be transgender. Oh, I should probably change this. Let's say rhetoric. There we are. Oh, oof. It's almost a typo. I just don't want people to get the wrong idea when they click on the link. There is, of course, no such thing as the trans community. Ultimately, because the anthropology of transgenderism is false, so the very notion of the trans community is a deception. So, you know, he can try and do the Job magic trick of magic tricks and do a little switcheroo as many times as he wants. He can try and be cute and be like, what's genocide? Ew. He can do whatever he wants. If he's saying eradicate, transgenderism from existence, we need to eradicate transgenderism. It's like, you don't get to separate. I'm just going to say this as a cis person. You couldn't separate being cis from my existence. If you said, Lance, you are no longer cis, you have to be trans. Forcibly, we will force you as a society to be trans. We are going to feminize you, force feminize you. You will suddenly turn into a woman. I would be like, what the fuck is this dystopian night? Where are you doing this to me? No, I don't want to do that. I enjoy being a man. I'm cis. I'm a cis dude. I want to stay a cis dude. Why are you doing that? But they want to do that in the opposite direction. That's what's happening here right now. And so he can't separate, or in this case, add the ism, you know, be like, well, I'm talking about trans ideology, not trans people. Trans people cannot exist if they are not trans. You're trying to remove who they are. You are trying to eliminate them. You got to start wearing it with your chest, all of you. It's just like, it's so tediously boring that you all want to posture when you're like, you go to CPAC, you got, let's get the applause in here. Hold on. Oh, yeah, hey, Michael Knowles, we need to eradicate transgenderism from society. Remove transgenderism from society. I think you feel like a big man. Get home, you know, you put on the nipple clamps, and all of a sudden it's like, I didn't say trans people. Ooh, no, I that's libel, slander, I say. Retract, Rolling Stone, how dare you?
For the good of society, and especially for the good of the poor people who have fallen prey to this confusion, transgenderism must be eradicated from public life entirely. The whole preposterous ideology.
This is a clear example of someone who is not only in denial that the world around them is changing, but is also very angry that there's nothing they can do to stop it. I've always been fascinated by psychology.
Put a pause. First of all, my preferred pronoun is he, not they. I am not multiple people.
Concern trolling is so epic and based, it makes you seem like a strong man who's comfortable in his own skin.
People who are troubled, and who I think even the most pro-transgenderism person out there will admit something's a little bit off, right? If you're a man and you're very...
Yeah, so, you know, straight cis people seem to be doing great. You know, I just blowing things up globally. Just making things explode, blowing up buildings, dropping bombs, making entire buildings, just killing thousands of people. Yeah, the vast majority of those bombings that are happening, you know, conflicts, wars, all that shit, that's not trans people, that's straight cis dudes. So like, yeah, they seem to be having a time. System's working out great. Yeah, fucking planet's heating up real fast, you know? I mean, that seems like it's kind of concerning, maybe more pressing.
Anxious and upset because you think that you're a woman. And so what I would endeavor to do is to help those people.
They still see, yeah, I know. It's still completely valid pronoun. Again, the lesson is if you pick up the phone and someone's like, who's calling? You're saying, oh, they're calling. They call. You don't bat an eye about it. And then if someone's like, oh, I use they, them pronouns, it's like, okay, well, I'm gonna practice a couple times, but in the pursuance of not being a complete and utter cock, yeah, I'll start to better myself.
To overcome their delusions. And what the pro-transgenderism people want to do is to affirm them in their delusions. So who is more helpful to the transgender community? Who would seem to have more positive feelings toward the transgender community? I think it's pretty clear. Keep going.
When are you getting to the good part?
It can be somewhat complicated. But anyway, if this person wants to come on the show and says
they're doing with their personal...
Oh yeah, he's been doing this for a long time, by the way. He keeps inviting trans activists to come onto his show, and he keeps being like, I mean, if you want to dispute any of the things that I've said, you're welcome to come on the show. Do you think trans people want to come on your show, Michael, and debate you about why they should exist, why they should not be eliminated from society? That sounds like a time. That sounds awesome. Yes, I'm sure on the very neutral platform, the Daily Wire. Yeah, that amazing. We'll not invite even more harassment and death threats that they already receive. I mean, come on, if you're not willing to discuss why you should or should not exist.
Ordinances by the North Carolina liberals, and then 5 years, but to eradicate transgenderism from public life, that would be sufficient to seeing this now in Florida and elsewhere, but that'd be pretty much it. That's what you would have to do. There are other things I would do in politics, but to eradicate transgenderism from public life, that would be sufficient to attain that goal.
No, of course not.
Yeah, I mean, you're saying it out loud. We're so far past the whole you can get rid of the gay by praying it away stuff, you know? You can torture the gay away if you send your gay kids to camps, you know, with the right amount of prayer and torture. Eventually, yes, they will stop having those desires. They'll definitely stop demonstrating those desires, that's for sure. Yeah, they won't want to demonstrate them because they know if they do that, they get tortured. Yeah, might result in a couple bad outcomes, very bad outcomes, but you know, it's worth it to try and straight your kids. Turns out it doesn't work. Can't do it. There's no such thing. Can't torture kids into not being trans. You can't do it. That's for them to discover. There are people who may think they are trans and it turns out they are not trans. There are people who think they are trans and detransition. They're a very small percentage, less than 5%, less than 5%. And again, for any other form of healthcare, gender affirming care, the numbers speak for themselves, you know? Like, this would be a much harder fight on the behalf of advocates if this was something in which it was like, there's about a 40% regret rate. We're fighting for that 60%, you know, but like, I think it's the right thing. It's just like, there's a 40% regret rate. So maybe there is something wrong here. Like, it's less than 5%. Again, people who get knee surgery, that's 40%. You know, that's a lot more people. And people still undergo those kind of procedures. So.
And then they say, hey, why do you care, bro? The moment that you react to that. I'm not the one who first cared. I thought things were going fine. You tried to upend reality, and I'm saying no.
It has nothing to do with you, though. Again, unless you're trans, or you have trans children that you're advocating on the behalf of, I don't see why this is your issue.
And so why aren't you just rolling over for our radicalism and falsehood? Because it's wrong and it's harmful. That's why.
Certainly, even you must know, sir, that...
Oh, if you missed it, by the way, we all had a darling time with Michael Knowles today. Just, you know, having fun. A whole bunch of us frenzies. So, Michael Knowles says, a full week of invective and defamation has failed to produce even one substantiative refutement of my argument. A full week of invective and defamation has failed to produce even one substantial refutement of my argument. Yes. Well, you are certainly typing like the keyboard warriors do. Ari Drennan, friend of the show, says, there should not be trans people is not an argument, Michael. Michael Knowles replies, but that isn't my argument. And then I feel great. I haven't ratioed Michael Knowles into the sun before, so this one, oof, felt delicious. Motherfucker doesn't even know his own argument. And... Pudding person, aka Juniper, pops up, and I love this comment. I would have had more respect for him if he just dropped the whole kabuki theater and dog whistles and just straight up said what he means. He did, though. This is literally from today.
The conservatives didn't start the fight. Society was working just fine on the basis that men are men and women are women for all of human history until like 5 minutes ago. The libs always do this. The libs upend the culture. They're the aggressors in the culture war. They push all manner of radicalism with a lot of effort and a lot of money all the way down to the littlest of kids. And then they say, hey, why do you care, bro? The moment that you react to that. I'm not the one who first cared. I thought things were going fine. You tried to upend reality, and I'm saying,
yeah, I know,
no.
what money?
And so
the big trans
why aren't
lobby.
you just rolling over for our radicalism and falsehood? Because it's wrong and it's harmful. That's why.
Certainly, even you must know, sir, that you can
confuse children that they really are the opposite sex. So too, we could return to a system of proper education and psychological therapy and spiritual formation that gives you a correct metaphysics, which tells you that actually boys are boys and girls are girls, and you can't change because your gender is an inseparable accident of the individual, present as long as the individual exists. That's what I would do. So and you can do that. And even for the people who insist upon this delusion, you can tell them, as we did until just a few years ago, well, okay, you might be deluded in your own mind, sir, but you're not allowed to use the women's bathroom or play on the women's sports team or take women's jobs or any. By
the way, that entire argument, argument from tradition, it's a fallacy for the reason that, yes, you could apply it to a lot of different things. There was a period in time when women couldn't vote. And I'm sure people at the time, a lot of anti-feminist activists were stating, well, if we do this, what happens? What happens if all the women suddenly sync up in their periods and suddenly their moon's blood attracts a whole bevy of animals to attack the village? We cannot have them and allow them the ability to vote. They must remain at home at all times, chaste and unpleasured in every way possible. You could have made the same argument about slavery. You could have made the same argument about colonization. You could have made the same argument about a lot of things that we do that are fucked up and then recognize, oh, well, our understanding of the known universe has increased. Yes, it turns out we are not the center of the universe. It turns out the earth itself is not flat. It turns out that there are more wondrous things to learn about the world around us and how we should treat people based on our understanding, and also their healthcare. What produces better outcomes? If one outcome leads to a very large percentage of the people who experience gender dysphoria leading to suicidalation, and the other one, gender affirming care, which starts out initially with pronouns, names, that kind of stuff, and eventually evolves into taking puberty blockers, if that seems to have much higher rates of satisfaction, much better outcomes, and it seems like every single major medical association in the United States agrees, they're all in agreement here. They're like, yep, we agree, this is a thing. Then maybe, just maybe, we cis people, we should back the fuck off and stop just treating people like shit. Because it's the same arguments that were used before for the gay community. They're repackaged. They're not even original ones, Oh, they're pedophiles. They're a danger to children. Being gay is a choice. Oh, you can pray the gay away. Oh, you just need to have gay ideology removed. Oh, you've just been influenced by popular culture. Oh, you're not actually gay. You just think you are. All that kind of shit. It's just repackaged, resold. Same bigotry, different year. Over and over.
Do you enjoy the Serfs but prefer not to have to use your eyeballs? Many are saying this. Well, we've got the solution for you. It's the Serf Times in podcast form, available on most major podcasting networks now. If you enjoy it, please consider leaving a good review and feedback because it really helps the show out, apparently, and it's free, just like the podcast.
To our gods, Xander Corvus and Peyton L. Juste, we shall spend many a generations building mighty cathedrals in your honor. To our monarch, Tom Spiker, we are but your oafish jesters, here to offer you a laugh at any opportunity. To our brave knights of the Round Table, Rachel K., Izzy Solidarity, Victoria Bell, Sebastian Demmel, Mark Harmon, Benji Arney, Scary Earth Human, Tony, DM Rivera, Resident Scarecrow, Sir Nickus, Cheryl Alvarez, Ruby Kelly, Brandon, Words Greenwood, Everything Important, Hegbert Celine, Matthew Scarborough, Stellar Vision, Ariane McCarthy, Doug Cady, Daniel Sutton, Jenna Tao, Dark Puppy, Quiet One 85, Anna Loves Riley, Omni, Riley and Anna, Poodlehawk, Multimondi, Trevbot EXE, Brian Ephraim, Anthropophojack, Catherine, Ramon Acosta, Incosin, Ralph Parler, Violent Orchard, Political Puppy, La Media Panza, Todd Buckingham, and Todd La Jeunesse. We salute our valiant heroes off to fight injustice everywhere.